Hello students, welcome to La Excellence. Welcome to our 15th weekly magazine where we'll be focusing from 4th June to 10th June 2017. Before I begin with the important issues in this particular week, I just want to tell you few quick things about the recently concluded Prelims 2017. As you're all aware, paper was a bit difficult, so scores will definitely be reduced. Don't worry about it. It may be less than 2015 cutoff as well. And the second most important thing is, even if you come across people who are talking about 110, 115 or so, there are a lot of people who have not done well in CSAT paper. So considering both CSAT and GS being difficult, definitely the cutoffs will be low this year. And the second important thing that I want to tell you is, there are at least 8 questions which looks hypothetical. And these questions, we don't know what is the exact answer. No one has actually identified the place from where the question has been picked up. Because of that, everyone's analysis varies. Now, if you take 8 questions, it may give you 16 plus or it may reduce your 16 marks. So because of this, high possibility that people who are almost near 100, you have greater chances of clearing, mainly because you don't know what will be your actual score. At this point of time, if you neglect your preparation and if you feel that let me wait for the results, then you are out of competition even if you clear this prelims. So our suggestion to you is, please start writing mains test series. Please start preparing for your optionals. Take a target that you will be covering the optionals once before result comes, and meanwhile try to write some test series for GS as well, so that you are in preparation with the mains. And as you're aware, even if you don't crack, you have to focus for prelims only from December 2017. So if that is the case, why do you waste this crucial time? So focus or give maximum time during this for your mains answer writing as much as possible. In La Excellence, we have planned to have a mentorship program for offline, especially for 100 students, where we will be giving focus on the answer writing skills of these 100 students, which will be evaluated only by few faculties who are available here. As the number of faculties who will be evaluating it will be less, so the number of students whom we will be taking in will also be less. So here we will be dividing the course into 12 tests, where the last 4 tests will be focusing on the comprehension. So that will give you second revision, and you have 4 papers. Every paper is divided into 2 parts, and first 8 papers will help you to go for the first revision. So we will be giving you the timings. It will be starting from 8th July, right? And online we have the weekly magazine course for those who want to prepare for 2018, and for those who are preparing for 2017 as well. We will be giving you very limited seats for this mentorship program as well. We are expecting that each faculty can evaluate at max 30 to 40 papers per week, and on the basis of that we are actually allocating these to them. The second important thing, there are some specific topics like internal security, international relations, and then you have ethics, social issues. These modules, which are specifically important from mains point of view, if you have not yet prepared for these and if you want classes for these, please do let us know. We will be providing you recorded online lectures which will be available for you at different dates. And as soon as you listen to the lecture, you can actually talk with that particular faculty. There will be a test on these modules itself, and you can write those modules and you can get it evaluated by that particular faculty itself. For all these queries, my request is please mail us or please write us at Laex Weekly, right? Or if you directly want to get in, so you can just visit laex.in/test-prep and choose whatever course you want. And on the basis of this, we will be providing you. And the number, as we have already given you, please feel free to contact us so that whatever information you require, we will be providing that. Fine. So let's quickly look at some of the major issues that is there in this particular week. The essay of the week is actually about good fences make good neighbors. Here we are actually talking about international relations, where we are talking about illegal migration and the issue of migration across the countries, which have been increased mainly after Trump coming to power and the rise of right-wing nationalists across the world. So go through this and try to answer it from the international relations point of view. Right? And then there is nothing much in history this particular week. So we have given, as there is debate on multiculturalism, we have given a question about multiculturalism, which is giving way to monoculturalism, especially because of globalization and IT revolution. So here we are trying to say it is this multiculturalism in the country is moving towards westernization, which is the monoculture. And why this is happening? This is happening because of the globalization and IT revolution. Here, you have to look in the syllabus, which actually says impact of globalization on Indian society, right? So it's very, very important for you to focus on that particular topic. Then in paper 2, it's very, very important for us to focus on BIMSTEC. High possibility they may ask you a question in mains, and they may ask you questions in next year prelims as well. So what exactly is BIMSTEC? Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral, Technical and Economic Cooperation. The number of digits you have in this is 7, and the number of countries which are there in this group is also 7. B for Bangladesh, I for India, M for Myanmar, S for Sri Lanka, T for Thailand, and you have Nepal and Bhutan, which is also relying on Bay of Bengal. So we say BIMSTEC is part of 7 countries, which was declared through Bangkok Declaration in 1997, right? So this is very, very important. Once UPSC has actually asked a question, what do you think? Is SAARC an important regional organization, or is BIMSTEC an important regional organization? And they asked which one will succeed. The answer will be BIMSTEC will succeed over SAARC. The reason for this is BIMSTEC is continuous and you do not have Pakistan, right? But in SAARC, the major problem is between India and Pakistan. If we are talking about the motor vehicular agreement, which is signed between BBIN, in this we are usually observing that all the countries which had not agreed in SAARC are coming together and they are forming in BBIN. In SAARC, the motor vehicular agreement did not move ahead for a simple reason that Pakistan said we are not willing to go for this particular agreement. And because of India-Pakistan problems, SAARC is not moving ahead in any form of agreements. So to come out of this particular problem, it's very, very important to have sub-regional organization where we are focusing on BBIN. IN. But BIMSTEC was also formed with the same ambition, where we felt that as Pakistan is not part of BIMSTEC, BIMSTEC will move ahead. But when we look practically after 20 years, we can clearly say that, right, there is no much difference between SAARC and BIMSTEC in the way it has grown, because the number of agreements and the number of things that has happened between SAARC and BIMSTEC are more or less the same. So India has to take initiative to ensure that its Act East policy will try to encourage BIMSTEC also to grow. Then the next important issue that we need to focus is Center clears Kambala bill. Very, very important for us to look into this. Right? So, like Jallikattu, there is this Kambala which is being practiced in Karnataka. And here the central government has said that yes, it can be practiced. They just legalized Kambala, and let us see what are the important points with respect to this. If we see first, Kambala is an annual buffalo race held traditionally under the auspices of local landlords and households or patel of village in the coastal Karnataka, India. Guys, you might have observed in this year paper that questions were not asked only from last 6 months, but they had focused on last 1 year current affairs as well. So it's very, very important for you to start preparing for current affairs now itself. Right? The Kambala season generally starts in November and lasts until March. The contest generally takes place between 2 pairs of buffaloes, each pair raised in wet rice fields. This is very, very important. Controlled by whip-lashing farmer. You can see the picture. The track used for Kambala is a paddy field filled with slush and mud. So it would be very difficult for this buffaloes to run. And the Kambala committee is formed, and it usually arranges it in several categories. People place massive bets, betting and all will be usually there in this, and this actually leads to some sort of cruelty to animals. That's why prevention of cruelty to animals had actually said that this should be banned, but later now the central government has ensured that it is legal. And the most important one in international relations is actually with respect to Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where India and Pakistan has become full-time members there. From 2015 onward, Shanghai Cooperation Organization was important mainly because you usually observe that every year it takes almost 3 years for India and Pakistan to become full-time members. First, India and Pakistan was invited. Then we said, yes, we are interested to join. And everyone said, okay, let us admit them. And now they have been formally admitted into Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Why is it important? Shanghai Cooperation Organization initially was called as Shanghai 5. And these 5 countries were Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and you had Tajikistan, which actually formed Shanghai 5. Then Uzbekistan joined it, forming Shanghai Cooperation Organization. If we see China and Russia, if there has to be any connectivity, then China has to go through these Central Asian countries to reach to Russia easily. And if this happens, the connectivity between China and Russia will improve, and Russia can export its oil to China. And even the Central Asian countries have lot of mineral reserves, and China can get access to this. This was the ambition of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. India was always willing to be part of it, and Russia also wanted India to be part of it. When India and Russia thought India has to be part of it, China asked Pakistan also to be present. Both India and Pakistan were observer countries before. Now they have become full member status. India raised about the terrorism there, but China has told that this is not a forum for bilateral issues. Here we have to focus on the multilateral issues alone. So if at all you are talking about India, India-China relationship, you have to talk about these organizations. You have something like BRICS, you have RIC between Russia, India and China, and you have Shanghai Cooperation Organization as well, where India and China and Russia are coming together. If we three can come together and if we can convince Russia to ensure that China will help us in entering into NSG or getting our work done in United Nations Security Council, it will be very, very helpful. So here we are talking about Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It is very, very important for you to analyze and understand the relevance of this. They may ask you a mains question where they will focus not only on this organization, but they may ask you India's association with China or India's association with Russia. At that point of time, it's very, very important for you to mention this particular terms. The next important project in Myanmar is Kaladan Multimodal Project between India and Myanmar on Kaladan River. And can you see here Sitwe Port? Yeah. From Kolkata, we will be going to Sitwe Port. There you have Kaladan River. We will be moving upstream and we will reach Mizoram. Once we reach Mizoram, it is easy for us to go to Northeast India. As we are aware, Northeast India do not have any port facility either through Bangladesh or through Myanmar. We have to reach it. Now we have got some road connectivity with Bangladesh, but we've also wanted to have the seaport connectivity, and Sitwe Port is the one which we are actually using. Earlier, even China was interested in Sitwe Port, but now China has shifted to some ports which are closer to this, that is your Kyukchu, whereas India is relying on the Sitwe Port, which will actually help us to reach this. But one of the major problem for this is a reason where you have the Rakhine province, and here you have Rohingya refugees as well. Right? So because of that ethnic clashes and all, there may be an issue, but India is hoping that this will actually help in having good trade relations between India and Northeast India through Myanmar, right? That is from mainland India to Northeast India through this Myanmar. And in science and technology, we have one major event that has actually made us proud again. That is with respect to GSLV Mark III, which was successful and it has launched GSAT-19 into the orbit. Why are we so much interested in GSLV? Yes, we had so many successful flights before. For this, a common thing is, what is the difference between PSLV and GSLV? When we look at this, PSLV's capacity to launch heavier satellites is low. When it comes to GSLV, it has the capacity to launch heavier satellites. What is the major problem? The major problem is with the cryogenic engine. The cryogenic engine requires cryogenic fuel. The cryogenic fuel is the liquefied nature of hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, all this. When you have this liquefied one, it is easy for the engines to carry heavy weights to longer distances. If that happens, we will be in a position to go for GSAT, where we will be in a position to put satellites of 4 tons in the geosynchronous transfer orbit and of 8 tons in low Earth orbit. Because of this, it gives us enormous scope for us to build indigenously, and till now we used to give it to France, where France used to take it to the European Space Agency, and from there it used to launch. It was costly for us. But now what India has done is indigenously built, and once India builds indigenously, we know the capacity of our ISRO, which can actually launch spacecrafts at a lower cost. This will make or ensure that our space program will be much more successful, and it would also ensure that in space diplomacy, India will be ahead of many other countries. So here you should know what is the difference between PSLV and GSLV, and you should also know the benefit of the cryogenic engine. Why did the GSLV Mark II failed? because there was failure in the cryogenic engine. But now, as it is successful, it is very, very important for India, because this can also help us to go for advanced missile technologies as well. So India is hoping to use this technology at multiple stages. That is the reason GSLV Mark III was very, very important. All factual information about this is given here. Then Union Minister Gadkari has said that we want to come up with a policy to ensure that bioethanol is in use in the country. And where he says that biofuel policy will ensure that farmers will get more money. You have different generations which we have discussed in previous classes. In the first generation biofuel, what we usually observe is that from the agricultural produce, maize and all, you generate biofuel. But the problem with this is, maize, rather than being used for consumption, it has to be used for biofuel, and this may lead to food crisis. So the second thing what they thought was, we will use the barren field to grow things like jatropha. So there, jatropha is not a food, so the food crisis does not take place. But the biggest problem is that diversion of land for biofuel would lead to reduced space available for other food crops is the fear. But apart from that, if we see, what the government is thinking is, if we can identify the barren land and go for these biofuels, then it will be very easy for this will ensure that the farmers will be focusing on these crops in their barren lands, so that we will have enough bioethanol or biofuels which can be blended with the petrol, which will have less impact on the environment, and it will also have less impact on our economy, as we may not rely much on the other countries for importing the oil. As of now, we say that 5% is allowed for blending in diesel, and some places it is 10% for petrol, right? So if we can increase this over a period of time, and if it becomes cost effective, it will be very, very essential for the country to move towards reducing carbon dioxide in the climate change as well. But remember, biofuel doesn't eliminate the carbon dioxide emissions completely. There will be some sort, but it will be very less when compared to the actual emissions that take place through petrol or diesel. So, and at last, please see these two questions and try to answer them. Those students who have already enrolled, please start writing from now. I hope you are coming out of the dilemma after prelims whether you have to write or not, but we would suggest, please do your preparation. You never know what is going to happen, and trust me, the paper was difficult, scores will reduce, so start preparing. If you don't prepare, you will be at loss, right? So all the best. Please try to ensure that you are answering them as much as possible. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching.